Good morning, one and all. Today concept is a phase replacement algorithm. There are different types of a phase replacement algorithm. The first one is a FIFO. FIFO means first in, first out. The second one is LRU, least recent use. Third one is a optimal. The first one, the FIFO, the first in, first out. The the page frames allocation to the process as a circular buffers. When the buffer is a full, the oldest page is a replaced. Hence, first in, first out. FIFO means the first in, first out. A frequently used page is a option, the oldest, so that it will take replace that page out by the FIFO. The simplest implementation, it required only pointers that circulars through the page frames of the process. One of the example, the FIFO page replacement algorithm, it will need of the one of the reference string. The reference string is a 70120304321201701. What is the page replacement algorithm? The FIFO, the first thing I have to check that reference string. There are two conditions. What is the phase fault? What is the phase it? Phase fault means the first thing I have to check that frame, the current location in the element that is a page it. What is the phase fault? The phase fault means the frame, first check that the frame, the current not location in the main memory, it is a phase fault. There are two main thing a difference. I'll have check that now. The frame size is a 3. The frame size is a 3. The first thing, the first in, first out. The FIFO means the first in, first out. The first frame size is a 3. The first occupied is a frame 1. It is occupied 7 element. Next one, second frame 70. Third frame is a 701. The frame is a full. How to replace that frame? The first in, first out. The first thing, the third element is a 2. How to replace the first thing? Replace that 7. I have to replace that 2 element and a 0 and 1. That is a phase fault. Next, reference string 0. I have to check that 0. The current location frame 1 and frame 2 and frame 3. I have to check that 0. 201. That is a current memory location. That frame is it. That is a frame is the current location in the element. The frame is it. Next element third. I have to check that third element. The how to replace the first thing. Replace that to how to replace that the first in, first out. The 7 is replace that 2 3 1. Next again 0. Again 0. Second replace 0 is a present in the memory. I have to replace that 0, that place that in 3 also. 2 3 0. Next one I have to replace that 1. I have to replace that 1. Again 4 3 0. That is a phase fault. Next one, second element. How to replace that? That element is a the first in 2. After that, I have to replace that 0 and 2 and 3. That is a phase fault. Next one, 3 element. 3 element, I have to check that the current in the main memory. I have to replace that third element. I have to replace that 0, 1 and 3 also. Next, one element. How to replace that? The longest element is a 0. That is a replace that 2. 0, 1 and 2. That is a phase fault. Next one, the 0. The first thing I have to check that 0, 1 and 2. The current memory location is already occupied. That element is a 0. That is a replace that same element 0 and 1 and 2. That is a phase it. Next again, one element I have to check that frame 1 and frame 2 and frame 3. The present in the main memory 0 and 1 and 2. That is a replace that same elements 0 and 1 and 2. That is a phase it. Next, seventh element. How to replace that? The first in, first out. I have to replace that 0. That is replace that 7 element and the same as 1 and 2 also. Next, 0 element. Next, 0 element. How to replace that? The longest element is a 2. That is a replace that 702. Next, final element is a 1. How to replace that? 2 is the longest, the 701. That is a FIFO. Next one, next concept, optimal phase replacement algorithm. Second one is a optimal phase replacement algorithm. The optimal policy selector for the replacement, the phase that will not be used the longest period of a time. It is a longest period of a time. Impossible to implement. It need know that of a feature, but service as a standard to compare with the others algorithm. You shall studying one of the example. Uh, one of the example, optimal phase. What is the optimal phase? It will need of the reference string. The optimal phase means it is a the current memory location that is a longest value that is a insert that that element that is occupied that element. What is the optimal? Optimal means it is a the current in the main memory location. It is a longest value that is a replaced that element. Replaced that element. There are two conditions. The first condition is a phase fault. The second condition is a phase it. What is the phase fault? The current memory in the location is not present. Is called as a phase fault. What is the phase it? The current memory in the location in present in the main memory that element that is a phase it. There are two conditions. It will lead up the one of the reference string. uh, next next one, the frame size is three. There are a different type of the frame sizes, two size also, three also, four also. Present one of the example 701, 203 and 04 and 2303, 21, 201701. One of the need of the reference string. Reference string. The frame size is a 3 part. 3. The frame size is a 3. The first thing, the frame size, frame 1 and frame 2 and frame 3. The frame size is a 3. The first reference string value is a 7. It is occupied that the first frame. The next one, 0 element. How to occupy? 7 I have to replace same value. Next 0. Next one element how to replace 701. The 70. The frame is a full. How to replace that element in optimal page replacement algorithm? The first thing I have to check that 701. The how to replace that second element? The second element, the 701, that is the optimal page replacement algorithm. The current location, the longest value right side, that is a replaced that element also. The 2 is a longest that right side only. I have to replace that 7, replace that 2 element. The 0 is the same as 2, 1 is a same as. That is a phase fault. Okay. Next element I have to check that 0. the current location in the main memory that is already occupied that main memory. I have to replace that 201. That is a phase it. Phase it. Next one, third element. Have to check that 201. That is the nearest value is a 0 and 1 is a longest value. 3 is a longest value. That I have to replace that 203. 203. 3 is a replacer that 1 is a longest that I have to replace that 3 element and 0 and 2 also. Next element 0. Next element is a 0. The current main memory location 201. Have to check that 0 element. The present in the main memory I have to replace that 203. That is a phase it. Next one, I have to check that fourth element. The current location is a 203. I have to check that the longest value right side. That element have to replace that 0 is a longest. I have to replace that 2, 4 and 3. That is a phase fault. Next element is a 2 element. The 2 element, the current in the main memory 243 have to present in the main memory 2 element have to replace that same element 243. That is a phase it. Next one, third element. How to replace uh, the current memory location 243 that present in the main memory 3 element that is a replace that same element 243. That is a phase it. Next element is a check that 0. The current memory location is a present in the not memory in that element 0. How to replace that is a right side. The 0 indicate I have to right side longest element I have to replace that 0. The longest element is a 4 that I have to replace that 0. That 2 is a same place and 3 is a same place. That is a phase fault. Next element 3. The current in the main memory 203. That is already existing that third element I have to replace that 203. That is a phase hit. Next element second element I have to check that current in the main memory 203. Current in the main memory 203. I have to occupy that same element. I have to replace that 203. That is a phase it. Next one, I have to check that one element. The current in the main memory not present in the one. That how to replace the right side longest value. I have to check that replace that the third is a longest value. That replace that one. Next again 0, again 2. That is a phase fault. Next one I have to check that 0. The present in the main memory 201, that is a 0 is a present in the main memory. Have to replace that 201. That is a phase hit. Next one element. I have to check that one element. The present in the main memory 201 have to check. Present in the main memory is a 1 already occupied. That is a replace that 201. That is a phase it. Next one, 7 element. I have to check that not present in the main memory. I have to replace that longest value 7. Have to replace 2 is the longest value. I have to replace that 7 and 0 and 1 also. That is a phase fault. Next one, I have to reference string. I have to check that 0. The main memory 701 have to present in the main memory 0 that is occupied. Have to replace that 701. That is a phase hit. Next one, last element is a 1. Have to check that 701. The present in the main memory 1. Have to replace that 701. That is a phase hit. Thank you for all.